stuff. Um, so from last time we spoke, I think on Friday.
Hmm.
Um, okay, here. Um, we were chatting about this like two IDPs problem. And I was thinking, okay, how we could do this. But honestly, now when I think more and more, it's pretty, I don't know, like this experience will be even more confusing to me because I just wanted to show you like what it would look like for
Okay.
user. So just close that thing. I have Okta somewhere. So let's imagine um you're okay, so you're here, you learn how to integrate there's guide, you follow steps, you get it, and then Okta starts sending this and you see, okay, last received request was successful.
Hmm.
And I'm not sure if we can track, okay, who's the client, but if yeah, let's assume we can,
Hmm.
then we see, okay, at some point we start receiving requests from other client,
Yep.
like from Entra now.
Yep.
And then we show some custom error message. Probably could be even like banner because at that point, I guess we stop uh,
Yeah.
this. But yeah, let's see that. And then like you see, okay, two identity providers are trying to send data to Fleet. Please connect only one IDP and push data to Fleet again. The
Hmm.
the the problem here is actually I'll open in like this is like in Okta you have this like scheme application
Yeah.
and you do some settings and once it starts working you do the mapping. I showed this to you. Then you need to tell this application, okay, I want to assign these users so they are sent to the to that like other app, in this case Fleet.
Hmm.
And what happens here is, okay, you send and then Fleet gets request and then Entra sends something and we stop it. And then
Hmm.
you tell them, okay, please connect only one
Hmm.
IDP, and then okay, they remove, like we don't know which one, or I
Yeah.
guess if we maybe could know, I'm not sure, but
Yeah,
we
I
can.
see what you're saying. Because we'll get a
Could be
request
two
then
Oktas. Yeah,
coming in, and then it's like, is it still just one? Like, when do we decide if
but
it's
user
two?
user also need to do something in order to get requests. Like could because something need to change either to exiting user, either they need to assign something because it's
Hmm.
yeah, like
Or
if there's no
push.
changes to
Yeah.
users, it won't push anything. And
Right.
then like let's say, but it's I'm not sure how to communicate that to the users, and then I think it gets like even more confusing. So like you say, okay, delete one, they delete one, then they
Hmm.
need to go here and let's say, okay, let's just do open this user, John Doe, for example, and then add something anywhere, like this
Yeah.
nickname, save, and then remove it again just to reinitiate this push. And we'll see, okay, this is, but which one like we want to allow? Okay, first one, I guess.
Hmm.
Um, I'm pretty
Yeah, I see what
sure,
you're saying. I see what you're saying. Then we don't, I mean, Fleet doesn't even have an easy way of knowing, like, now it's just one, because it's just getting di independent requests from um,
yeah.
either two
Plus,
Octas or the two
yeah,
IDPs.
when
Yeah.
it comes like I guess like when engineers start working on this, like they might see like okay, there is some IPs, but then I guess they will need some external integrations to check what those IPs resolve to. Is there something that tells them it's Okta? So I think like we wanted to cut this like to be a little bit
Yeah.
more
That
easier
makes sense.
and
Makes sense.
simpler. So then what I would propose is like what we initially did is like to document, okay, if you because I guess we probably like just document, okay, connect Okta, and we suggest just use one. If
Hmm.
they do more, there might be some conflicts because this like username could be like the same. So like in that case, Fleet could like just use the oldest one like
Wait, the
as
username could be the
primary.
same.
I guess the easiest to show is you see here's like list of users that are pushed, and this
Yeah.
is like username is kind of unique value that's used.
Well, I thought we were going to use that that ID value.
Um, yes, it's but we can't use this value because like in Fleet what you have is like let's say you enrolled your host automatically and then some email got like in here like automatic enrollment IDP email, then we use that email to check against users and find out, okay, there's this username, okay, this is Marko@fleetdm.com, okay,
Hmm.
that's one. And then once we once we pull those information, that's fine. Then like this ID is
Hmm.
useful only like if someone then goes in Okta and
Hmm.
change this something here. For example, change
Yeah,
username to Marko lists at FleetDM. Then
right.
this will be still the same user, like even though this username is changed.
No, I
So
get
we'll
that.
know that, yeah.
I get what you're saying there. But if you had a second IDP, like if we're talking about this problem where there's conflicting users with the same username, if you
Yep.
had a second IDP, though, that ID would be different, right? The username would be the
Yep.
same, but the
Hmm.
ID would be different.
That's right. Yep.
Um, okay, so is that how we think it's going to work? Like, we'll just use whichever one was first. Like, if we're just hearing about another user with the same name and we already have one,
Hmm.
we'll know they're different because we'll have a different ID.
Yep.
So we'll just use the first one.
Yep. That's
Yeah.
it. Or we
Okay.
could just say, I guess we could just you could also tie it to this ID, like to username, and then once it's assigned to host, you could say, okay,
Yes.
this marker
Yeah.
is with this ID is assigned to host. I guess that could be an option.
I think
And then
that makes
we
sense. Yeah.
everything else that comes in, it's just like I guess. And then if that happens and they have those conflicts, then I think that the way like they will need to clean up database or something like that. And then I think it's
Wait.
solvable.
Clean up the fleet database?
I think so, yeah, like because
What,
if you
what's, yeah, go for it.
if you have like or if they mess up something like they added some other IDP they have two and then they have a bunch of conflicts like the way to solve is just like to revert database or to whatever it
Yes.
was before that and then
Wait, but I'm still
disconnect
not
that.
getting the problem. If they add the first IDP, we're going to get a bunch of users
Yep.
with their IDs. And then when they add the second IDP,
Hmm.
they'll just be like these extra users that aren't being used at all. Or
Yeah, there's like
you're thinking of
I
something
guess there
different.
will be so like probably we won't use them because like I think even if there is like some host that gets enrolled and gets some like email, but there is two like of these, we'll just look at one that's
I
added
see.
before. So
Yeah,
I guess just like
I
if
see. I
someone
see.
mess up, like there is no way to clean that up right now
Right, right,
except
right.
then go into database and clean unnecessary users. Like even if you, I guess if you clean everything, then you can again just you have like your Okta, you just push everything again, and
Mm-hmm.
then like you have just one IDP, you disconnect another one. So like I think just thinking about okay, if they mess up like with two IDPs and
Right,
something
right.
is like
I see
completely
what you're
messed
saying.
up, there is a solution like I think we can solve it like or support can do. But I feel like it's probably like not the use case or and we shouldn't like we should like advise them, okay, please use just one IDP.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise you might have some conflicts
Mm-hmm.
and explain also this behavior. Okay, if there is like users that have like same username for some reason,
Mm-hmm.
the one that's created or that's added to Fleet before will be used in mapping to the host.
Yeah, it's worth spelling that out. But I see what you're saying, where it's like
Mm.
there's some value in having like a delete or clean up like for the mess up problem. Like there's some value in having like clean up all the users in Fleet. I messed up the first
I
time.
guess, yeah, we could have like some action, but also could be added later.
I think so too. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that makes sense.
So yeah.
I agree. Okay.
So that's pretty much it. I have everything defined here. I'll define this like behavior where if one that's added before is kind of primary for mapping.
Hmm.
And then I started writing guide.
But we should, in the API too, I feel like we should have that ID because that'll just make it clear to us and to the user, like that's ultimately, once we have that information, that's what we're using to update these values.
I guess yeah, we could add,
Yeah.
but I'm not sure like do we need it in UI?
No, I don't
Um,
think so. We can add it later. It's just mainly for us, but also for the technical users.
mhm.
this is what fleet is using. It's really like once we have a user, like at first we're using the IDP email to do the initial mapping, but then after that, it's all done via this ID, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, then there's this like also question, okay, I think Fleet should do some like check at some interval um to see if something for this user like changed um as well. I guess like we could also
But that's
track
for
like
the configuration profile problem you're talking about. You're thinking about here.
no, I'm just guessing like okay, so let's say you added like your user, it's some email.
Uh-huh.
Um Here it's mapped to IDP
Right.
and then something changed like family name, for example. But I think like we should probably do it in a way, but because each time something changed in IDP, we
Right.
got requests. So probably at that point we should
We
like
should change. Yeah.
change that, yeah, like for the user as well. So yeah, I think that's what we should, and that's like in like I guess how scheme is imagined like to work. Um,
Yeah. That makes sense to me. And then
yeah,
later, I think we should carve out a separate story for variables and profiles.
I did already
Oh, you
like
did? Okay, good. Because we'll want to
yeah,
think through like that problem is something worth solving for
I
like
watched some
redelivering.
customer like recordings and like I think they use also full name, they use like email, they'll use
Yeah.
um
No, no, I was saying less so for this. Like that
okay,
makes sense. Less so for the specific attributes, more
okay,
so for this problem of like when things change, Fleet's responsible for redelivering the
profile
bug.
automatically, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
And that can be part of
No,
that story for the
makes
variable.
sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, this one is like okay, add like API endpoint and token to Okta, do some settings in Okta
Hmm.
and
And
tie
things
that
show up.
to host. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then also I have like I started working also on some prototypes that I will record later. Actually, yeah, I'll just do some like future work, like okay, what it looks like to add manually,
Nice.
edit manually, and
Okay.
then yeah, I'll record that so we can send to the prospect that asked, then also I think to Brock and other folks uh, who are interested in, I guess. And um, yeah, what else? I'm writing guide. There's some stuff in that guide as well that like okay, there's some like kind of details in Okta on how we want that. Probably like we'll need to learn some stuff. But anyway, do you want to take a look one more like at the copy? Maybe
Yeah. I think
async
that,
possibly.
yeah, yeah, that makes sense. Let me take a note and I can do that this evening.
And I'll prepare or I'll add like draft test plan today and then yeah, like so make it ready for user review tomorrow.
Sounds good.
Um yeah, and then I think there is like this recording of the future, kind of how it will look in the future and guide
Yep.
that's left.
Makes sense. Um, cool. Okay. Sounds good. I do have to jump.
Okay, thank
Um,
you.
but yeah, I just took a note down to take a look at the copy. So yeah, we can get it ready for tomorrow. Sounds good. Nice work.
Sound good.
Thanks,
Thanks, see
Marco.
you.
See you.